We live in a world where everyone is searching for extra features, bonus content, and deleted scenes. Well, what if there were prequels, sequels, and threequels that you never knew existed? Something to quench your thirst for more entertainment. Everyone at Vcrworld on Instagram voted on whether or not they think The Good Son could be considered Home Alone 3 or not, and now it's our turn to find out. It's time for Will It Trilogy Home Alone Edition. Home Alone and I go way back, Drew, and I'm sure you could say the same. But it's a staple in my holiday diet. I mean, I'm eating turkey, gravy, ham, but I'm also consuming my favorite Christmas entertainment movies, which, Home Alone is on that list. But, I've seen these movies so many times, it leaves me wondering, like, is there a sequel out there somewhere? Is there a part 3 that maybe we don't know about? And yeah. I mean, it's kind of like the Mandela effect a little bit. But the anti-Mandela effect, the Vcrworld effect, one might say. I think there could be a trilogy out there somewhere. And The Good Son, I think, is a good contender because it's made literally a year after Home Alone 2.
Okay, everyone listening might be screaming at you right now, saying, wait, there is a Home Alone 3.
Well,
yeah, I know where you're going, but I just want to, cut that off at the pass here.
Right.
We do have to acknowledge that there are, I don't know, how many like sequels with new cast members are there after?
Okay, well, yeah, you could say that with a lot of movies. You could say that with Batman. Michael Keaton is the original Batman. He's our Kevin McAllister or our Macaulay Culkin in this situation, but Val Kilmer did not fill any slots for me. I would have much rather have had Michael Keaton continue into the trilogy, but that didn't happen. And,
yes.
We had a Home Alone 3, but I have never seen it.
Well, right. We want to recontextualize history and wipe out those meaningless sequels with something more important, more interesting. And I just wanted to, it's like you've already brainwashed yourself to believe that they don't exist, but they do exist. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. I haven't seen them either.
Me, I love brainwashing myself and coming up with silly ideas, but I think that maybe we're onto something here. I mean, I watched all of the movies back to back. And I watched them in December and I watched them again in February. And it was a little harder this time just because, I do watch them every year. So it was, I don't know why I didn't just skip watching them because I know them so well, but I felt like I had to. I had to watch part 1, then 2, and then I had to go directly into The Good Son. And one thing that I found interesting is that all of these movies are released by 20th Century Fox.
Okay.
We found this a similarity in the last time we did Will It Sequel with Encino Man and George of the Jungle, but
right.
I don't remember what conclusion we came to with that one. But it was
probably a yes.
Yeah, I think it was a yes.
I think this might be our most audacious episode yet of Will It Sequel or Will It Trilogy. One, we're stepping it up to trilogy, so that's all the more exciting. And 2, I guess I should have a 3, but for now I just have 2. And 2, okay, Home Alone is a fun family comedy with a little drama mixed in. Home Alone 2 is more of the same. The Good Son is a dark, twisted family psychological thriller horror movie. I mean, it's not like going from one dumb Brendan Fraser comedy to the next. This is a total shift in tone. So, and over the course, like you said, of 1 year. So I think we're going to get into kind of like what happened in that very short time frame.
Yes.
From Kevin McAllister to go from, fending off burglars to much more extreme psychotic behavior. So
right. But before we even get there, we have to talk about the psychology, the torment that Kevin McAllister actually went through with his parents, with his dad's brother, Frank. So for those of you who don't really know the family tree all that well, everybody that goes on vacation with the McAllister family are directly related to the dad. So the dad is Peter, the mom is Kate, and then the dad has, two brothers, or is it just the one brother? Yeah, it's one brother and his wife who go on vacation with them. So it's I'm looking at the family tree here. We got on Frank's side, it's Tracy, Rod, Sandra, Brooke, and Fuller. And then on the McAllister side, it's Buzz, Megan, Lenny, Jeff, and Kevin, which is a huge family. But, from the get-go, we see Kevin just being tormented left and right, whether it's, go pack your suitcase, Kevin, and he's 8 years old. They're just like throwing all of this on him. Go pack your suitcase. And he's like, I'm 8. I don't know how to do that. They trash talk him, whatever. And then, Frank is bullying him left and right. I mean, this kid,
they don't get the pizza that he wants, or someone else eats it, and then they offer to puke it up, and it's just
man, Buzz, he's a real Buzz kill,
Buzz is a bad boy,
and then Fuller, they're making him sleep with Fuller. They know that he's going to piss the bed. They know that that's going to happen. They're punishing him left and right, and he wishes that they would all just disappear, at this point. And they go on to leave him behind, which is kind of weird. I have 3 kids. I would never leave any of my kids behind if I was going on vacation. Would you? Do you think that if you had kids, you would forget one?
Okay, well, are you questioning the premise of the validity of this? So
no,
do a head count.
no. I'm questioning whether
tree.
Or not they actually love Kevin.
Wow. Okay,
he's the youngest.
I think it's an honest mistake. They try to do a head count. There's like the delivery person or something who they count instead of Kevin, so they get the right number of people. But it's
Tracy that's counting. Tracy's Frank's daughter, the oldest of the siblings. But still, they shouldn't put all of this on just a teenager. Like none of the parents are concerned about all of their kids. They're just concerned about making the flight because the power goes out and their alarm clock dies.
Well, right. I watch this movie pretty much every year as well, and have seen it really recently. And I think for a screwball comedy setup, I think they do a decent enough job of explaining, like, no, that's not how airports work, where you can just rush through security and not have the right people. And, they would have noticed sooner, but they do enough. Like, they put all these little things in place to at least pretend that they acknowledged, like, how hard it would be to leave your actual kid behind. So I give the movie a pass.
Okay.
On that. But I don't want to undermine the psychological trauma that it puts Kevin through. That is real, for sure.
Yeah. Like, when I was a kid, my parents used to leave me home all the time alone, and I would have a great time. But I cannot, for the life of me, remember a time where they went on vacation and didn't remember that I was sleeping in the attic.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's a bit of a stretch. I'll give you that.
It is. And he's the youngest. He's the youngest. So you have to think about it this way. So like I said, I have kids. If my youngest if I was going on vacation, he would be my like travel buddy. I'd be making sure he's doing this and that, and he's got everything packed, he's ready to go, just because that's what parents do. So you're thinking about all these older kids who they don't have to worry about anymore. They have everything under control, but then they have this 8-year-old why aren't they like helping him get ready and like showering and, you know, brushing his teeth, all this stuff that they should be doing as a parent. They're just not doing because they want to make this flight. They're like, you know, screw him. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
They're racing. I think what's so cool about the first movie is that they almost set it up to have like he's like staring off into the sky before he goes to bed at night, and the movie gives off these like almost supernatural tones. He thinks in his head that wish he made came true. He thinks he's in a supernatural situation where he wished his parents
He's a narcissist
to disappear. Sure, but he's also 8, as you keep mentioning.
Yeah.
So he's, but the movie kind of balances like, and then the reason that his mom that they realize he's gone is because they have this almost like psychic link. She's in the plane, and she just realizes all of a sudden that like, hey, what about Kevin? Now you're right, that was a little late to have that realization, but nothing really prompted it. She just kind of like is connected to him somehow.
Yeah, the dad's like, you know what? That's it. I forgot to close the garage.
Right.
That's it. And then she's like, no, that's not it. Kevin, you know, like, oh, come on. You didn't think about him this morning when you woke up anyway. So you know, they get the cops involved. They call the cops. They come by the house and they don't really do anything.
No,
he's home. You know, then they tell her, oh, nobody's home, ma'am. Come on.
Was that when he's having like a fake party, or that's not when the cops come?
No. Then he has the fake party because he thinks that the burglars are going to try to break in. So he, you know, sets up which is very smart. You know, he's a smart little boy. He's got a lot of balls. He's got big cojones, some might say. But I mean, you know, the cops not getting involved a little bit more, I think, was unbelievable. Still a great movie. Doesn't matter. Fun story. But, you know, then, you know, the ending comes and everybody's happy to see him. And
especially him and the mom.
Yeah. I mean, you have that bond there with the mom, you know, like, hey, I forgot you. It's okay. I forgive you. But then, you know, the sequel comes along. And it's deja vu. It's happening all over again. Like, what the?
I know. What are the odds? What are the odds?
What are the odds that this is going to happen twice? And it does. It does. You know, they're flying. He goes to New York and they go where? They're going to Miami, I think. And wow. And then you know, okay, so in the first movie, we never even talked about the killers. Like these, well, they're just like, they're the sticky bandits. They're, you know, they're looking to rob the neighborhood. Yeah, they're robbers. And then in the second one, they're back. I guess they escaped from prison and they see him. And so now they're after him. They want to kill him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going through a lot.
The first one, he has been through a lot. The first one is basically a kid's comedy, but it is a home invasion thriller. So I mean, it has all the tropes of an adult like thriller where these people are invading someone's house and he has to set up, he has to fight them off in somewhat violent fashion.
Yeah,
I mean, he shoots them in the nuts with a BB gun. He burns their hands. He has them slipping and falling all over the steps.
He burns
all sorts
Joe
of
Pesci's hair.
Yeah.
One thing that kind of bothers me about it is he doesn't eat his mac and cheese. He sets up this dinner. I think he's got candles lit. You know, he's sitting there with, I think he has a glass of milk. Maybe that's what I would do. I would have a glass of milk with some mac and cheese and rinse it down, you know, but he doesn't even eat it. Now that bothers me. Doesn't that
That's where you draw the line.
Just take a bite. Right?
This is kind of a movie thing. In some movie, I always notice it when someone's actually is eating or drinking in a movie. Like, because it's weird, especially eating. You can put like water in a beer bottle or whatever, but if you have to do a bunch of takes of eating over and over, I think they avoid it for the most part.
Yeah.
And then you have to have someone refill the macaroni when they want to like.
Do you think that's the whole reason behind him not eating any mac and cheese is because the production was like, hey, this kid, he's going to get too full?
I think he was a little nervous.
Yeah.
I mean, if he was in character, his character was nervous that he was about to be attacked.
Right.
So maybe he didn't have a giant appetite. He had already eaten all that ice cream.
Yeah.
Pizza.
Oh, man. Yeah, you're right. Also, isn't this the movie that made him a star? Like, he had Uncle Buck and in all these other movies, but this is the movie that really set him off.
Yeah, he was like a side character in Uncle Buck, and he had such like a good, relationship. John Hughes wrote both movies.
I love that movie. He's cooking our garbage. He put onions in the eggs.
That's not a bad idea.
Actually, anyway, that sounds really good. Okay, so part 2 comes along. We still have these guys, these robbers who are now like serial killers, I guess, or well, they're McAllister killers, and man, this kid.
They're also like brain dead buffoons. I mean, the only way he's able to fight them off is because they're like the least competent criminals ever.
They're not very bright.
No, they're not bright. I mean, he's bright for an 8-year-old. They're not bright for 40-year-olds or whatever they are.
Yeah.
They're like, he's able to outsmart them because, they're meeting in the middle at like a 20-year-old intellect. But yeah, they take a lot of punishment. They also have brain damage because they keep getting hit in the head. They keep getting bricks bounced off their forehead, especially the curly-haired one.
Yeah. Then you have Donald Trump who comes in. You got the Bird Lady. Yeah. I think the Bird Lady is probably my least favorite part about part 2, to be honest. If we're going to compare like movies, I would say part 1's the better movie just because of the Bird Lady. I don't really like the Bird Lady. I don't know why.
Well, she's just a retread of the old man at the church.
Yeah.
So they're just redoing everything. I mean, the second one definitely has sequel-itis. That's why the third one, The Good Son, is such a refreshing breath of air, because they are not repeating the same, formula from the first 2.
Right. So, we know the first movie, we know the second movie, and now we need to get to know the third movie a little bit better. And I know that that's what all of you little people listening, I don't mean to call you little people. I don't know what I'm talking about. You're probably bigger than me. We need to
you're pretty big.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how big I am. Okay. So, at the end, Kevin reunites with his family. Still though, you still have all this trauma, and he goes outside and he gives a turtle dove to the Bird Lady. And in my mind, I'm like, man, maybe this is like symbolic for, like he needs to like spread his wings. He needs to fly. Oh. He needs to change. But that's not exactly where I think the story goes, just because of the turtle dove. I don't think that it's some kind of like switch that goes off in his head where he's like, hey, I'm fucking crazy. I don't think that. I do think that we never see, and I know this, but we never see Kate McAllister's side of the family. So we see Peter McAllister's side of the family, his brother, Frank and his kids, but we never hear anything about Kate's side of the family. So I have a little bit of a backstory here that kind of arcs into Home Alone 3, and I'm kind of proud of it, to be honest. I can't wait to hear it because mine is so convoluted it's hard for me even to understand. Okay, so good.
Hopefully yours clarifies some of my questions.
Well, yeah, and I want to hear yours as well. But okay, here we go. So Kevin McAllister is taken in by his mother's sister after his parents get word that the Sticky Bandits have escaped from prison yet again. But something is wrong with Kevin. His deeply rooted past of jealousy, abuse, and being forgotten has taken its toll on his psyche, leaving him with a sinister plot to hurt anyone who gets in his way of being the good son. But you have to remember this.
The number one son, the best boy of his mom.
The best possible son.
His mother figure.
Yeah, well, he wants to be the only son, is what this movie should be called, Home Alone, the Only Son.
Or we need to talk about Kevin.
Well, we need to talk about a few more things because people are going to be like, well, his name's different in The Good Son. Well, he has to change his name.
Witness protection.
Witness protection. That's right. And he lives in Chicago. Whenever he's a McAllister, he moves on to where is the other movie in
somewhere in the Northeast.
Maine? Is it in Maine? It might be in Maine. It doesn't matter.
It's a beautiful coastal northeastern town. It's like there's waves crashing. I love the setting. It's like a Stephen King type.
Yeah. So he moves to his Aunt Susan's house in Maine, and she's got a daughter and a son already. But now I want to hear your story arc. Where do you think that these three movies can connect?
Yeah, I'd like to start with the tagline for Home Alone 3, The Good Son. Evil has many faces.
Ooh, yeah.
So we have this Elijah Wood character who's lost his mom. Nothing is more important to Kevin / his new alter ego in Maine as his relationship and his bond with his mom. So we have this other character coming in who has lost, his mother figure. We have a character who is desperate to protect his position in the family and would do anything to keep that if someone jeopardizes his status as the good and only son. Now, where I get myself confused and turned around in circles is the backstory of the Elijah Wood character provides the motive, the lost mother, for this psychotic behavior. But we already know that the Kevin McAllister character has a history of violence.
Right.
It might have been justified and necessary at the time, but that certainly might be something that's hard to come back from.
Ooh.
At that age, at 8 years old, when you're forced to do serious bodily harm to other humans, and it's played as entertainment, and you're having fun and like high-fiving and stuff when you hit him in the crotch. Maybe you're a little fucked up from that. So he's got this what I don't understand is potentially if somehow they are able to like body swap or switch like personalities, it would if he can feel the loss that is inside of Elijah Wood's character so profoundly that just takes him over the edge to the path of darkness, and
right.
He can't come back from it. Like he was teetering in.
Oh man, you got my brain spinning. You got my gears are moving.
I don't have it all worked out, but like there's so many parallels there with like this maternal bond and the loss of one character's mother, and then him being threatened that he's going to lose his new surrogate mother.
Right.
So yeah, I think there's
man. Oh, I got some gears.
There's some fuel there.
I got some gears going because of what you just said. So, okay. So we know that Susan's real son. Susan is, the mom. So Susan's real son, her son drowned. His name is Richard. He drowned in a bathtub. Okay. So what if Kevin McAllister, he moves in, he changes his name, and he kills the little Richard boy, drowns the little Richard boy because he's the real son. He can't have that. There's not enough attention going to Kevin, and he doesn't like that. What if Elijah Wood's character is actually just like a fantasy, like an illusion of something that he doesn't want to happen, and so he's like losing his shit, trying to prevent it from happening. Like he tries to kill his sister, he's trying to kill, his mom. He's just like losing, or not his mom, his aunt. His aunt.
Well, think about it this way. Elijah Wood, you're exactly right, does represent everything that has traumatized him throughout his life.
Yeah.
Elijah Wood has just, his mom has died.
Yeah.
As far as we know, it just happens off screen before the movie starts. And then his dad just drops him off and abandons him and goes to Tokyo.
Yeah. So it kind of sounds like Kevin McAllister's. I'm sorry, Kevin McKillister's.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, it sounds like his past, doesn't it?
Yep, it does. So they are basically two sides of the same
one and the same
person.
Yeah.
One's evil, one's good, and there's bits of both of them. And there's bits of good in both of them, but like the arrival of Elijah Wood is too much for Kevin McAllister
Yeah.
to take, and that's when he just embraces.
It's like his
the dark
side.
split
personality. Then you have Kevin McAllister and you have the Elijah Wood character. God, I wish I knew his name. I can't believe I don't remember his name.
It's like Mark and Henry. Their names are really generic.
Yeah, Mark and Henry, maybe. That sounds good.
Yeah.
You have like the good side, which is Elijah, who he used to be, and then you have the bad side, who's taken over. It's just like evil versus good. And it's such a cool story arc to think about. Like I'm so happy it's not a Christmas movie too, because it's just a nice break from all of that after, so much disappointment and so much of being forgotten and shit on. In part 2, he's singing in the Christmas choir and Buzz like does something to him. I forgot what he does, but everybody's laughing at him. And it's just like, that had to be like the final straw. I think the straw that broke the camel's back. I think after that, he was never the same.
Yeah. I mean, that was that, and like just having, so it's heavily implied in The Good Son that he did in fact drown.
Yes.
the other kid.
Yes.
And so he's been experimenting with psychotic. I mean, he's been escalating his psychotic behavior rapidly since the events of Home Alone. I mean, going from comic violence to child murder.
Right.
And then this Elijah Wood character shows up, and that's could have been a chance for redemption or him to kind of like see the good in this other character, but it actually just pushes him further.
Maybe it was just like his conscience from killing Richard, his new little brother. Maybe it was like his conscience trying to tell him, like, you're doing bad things, you should stop. But I think we should also, throw in some other clues that might tie these movies together. Is the fact that he is very, very smart with making weapons. And he's building these things that only Kevin McAllister would be building. Like a big dummy that he throws off a bridge.
Well, the dude has like a murder shed.
He has a murder shed that his parents somehow just have never been inside.
I mean, I built a lot of forts. You probably built some forts.
I built a fort.
Did they ever? Did they ever look like his like?
I had a fort that was very, very poorly built, and the only thing I kept in there was a Playboy magazine, and I built it with one of my buddies who only came in during the summertime, and his grandparents had a huge property, so we built it in the back. And after we built it, we never used it. We just kept a porno mag in there. But that's the only time I ever had a shed all to myself.
Right. Yeah, I had a habit of building a lot of forts and then abandoning them as well.
Yeah.
The worst one, that I can remember, was I dug like a 6-foot hole in the ground.
Wow, like a trench?
And large enough that I could get inside and then put like a tarp at the bottom, and then just got a piece of plywood and put it over top of the hole. I don't know how I didn't scare myself to death getting in and out. It probably wasn't 6 feet. Like, it was like the height of whatever height I was at the time. But yeah, it was just a hole in the ground with a piece of plywood over top.
And this is another Treehouse movie. We've talked about a lot of Treehouse movies. Yep. This is a Treehouse movie, but they don't really focus on the Treehouse all that much. Whenever he's Elijah Wood's about to fall, Macaulay Culkin, classic line, "If I let you go, do you think you could fly?" Oh, dude. And that line, I think, is what sold people back in the 90s, because they put that line in the trailer and they're like, "Oh my God, little Kevin McAllister, he's so evil." Yeah. Man, that's good line.
Definitely what they, so this movie, we're arguing that it's, the third version, or the third, movie in the Home Alone series. No doubt the studio was fully acknowledging, this is, we're gonna subvert, we're gonna play on this Kevin McAllister character that everyone loves,
right,
and turn him into a psychopath.
There's no doubt.
There's no denying that they were leaning on that character's reputation. So whether they acknowledged it at the time or not.
He was like
clearly
the selling point of this movie. They were like, hey, why don't we just cast Macaulay Culkin in this, and everybody will want to see it because he's only been a good boy his whole life, you know?
Yeah, but that's I think people have done, like YouTube videos of Home Alone, like as a horror movie.
Right.
They did a actual movie better. What was it? Oh man, that Christmas movie that came out a few years ago, Silent Night. No. Anyway,
I can't think
Better
of
Watch
it.
Out.
Better Watch Out. Yeah.
Yeah, which is like a reverse Home Alone. It's kind of like welcoming the people so he can get his psychotic rage out.
Yeah.
Home Alone is like all this like fun stuff with a darkness underneath, and they just flipped it around the other way. And I don't know if Good Son had the same commercial appeal, but it's a really entertaining movie as a thriller.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know what people thought when they were going to the theater to watch more hijinks.
I don't know exactly what the box office, which we should have looked at, was, but I know that whenever I watched it, I looked up the reviews, and I think it got 22% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I don't think it was a big hit. Yeah.
I'm not really positive why it would get that low of a score. I do remember when I watched it, it wasn't like as good as I remembered it. I still love it. I think it's a really good movie. It's just I remember it being a lot better than it was, but I would still, I'm still going to watch it over and over. I mean, it's not the last time I'm ever going to watch it for sure, but it does not deserve 22%.
Why is this not coming up?
I think it's rated R. I mean, it should be rated R.
Yeah, that's the other crazy thing. I mean, it's like one thing, we're talking about the sequel aspect, but one thing to point out about that makes this movie so remarkable is it's just Elijah Wood and Macaulay Culkin on screen. It is rated R 90% of the time. Like it's not adults. Same as Home Alone. I mean, like for these kids to be able to carry the movie, Home Alone's one thing because it's got all this like this goofiness and comedy going on. To be able to pull off this, like, Macaulay Culkin is a evil genius,
right,
in this movie from an acting standpoint. It's really incredible.
So I got the box office numbers here. So Home Alone grossed $285 million, and I think I actually heard something about this being like the highest grossing film in the 90s. So they made the sequel that made $359 million. So it makes you wonder, did the creators of The Good Son or 20th Century Fox, maybe they were like, hey, if we put Macaulay Culkin in this, we're going to do really well. That's probably what they were trying to do, but it only got $60.6 million, which is a lot of money.
Yeah.
But $60 million compared to the $100 million budget or return in the box office for Home Alone is just, maybe that's why it got such a low score on Rotten Tomatoes. All these guys, they're like, hey, man, it didn't make as much money. It can't be good. It can't be.
Maybe this movie isn't for kids because it's R-rated.
Yeah.
So, and maybe adults don't like going to see kids turn out to be psychopaths.
Yeah.
It's not like a fun movie for adults, and kids can't watch it. I mean, at least they're not supposed to.
26% on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm sorry. And let's see. What did Home Alone get? It doesn't say.
I think the first one is really really well reviewed.
Yeah.
And then the second one.
Oh, wow. Home Alone 2, I got 35%. Oh my God. So I guess, we got the story arc. We have certain things that tie these movies together. He has the same traits. We know that, like, he has the same skill set that he does in Home Alone. And I think because it is an Elijah Wood story, so I think the only way to say that it would to tie Elijah Wood to his psyche, saying that it is a split personality. So, Drew, will it trilogy?
Absolutely. This is my most definitive one yet.
Absolutely.
100%.
Yes. I am 100% on board. And now, during the holidays, I will finally have a third movie to watch
Yeah. Happy holidays. Watch The Good Son every year.
I do want to read a comment. Someone left a comment on Instagram, and I did a fun little thing this time. I said, leave a comment with why this would work and have a chance to be mentioned on the podcast. I thought that was a good idea. Yeah, and someone had a really good comment. Actually, I'm going to read 2 comments. So the first comment is, hold on, I'm pulling up my Windows 95 phone.
Oh yeah,
it's super slow. Okay, so VHS Brewery, VHS, what is that, underscore? Is that a little, underscore brewery says, it makes sense. Maybe Kevin really did enjoy hurting Harry and Marv, and now that the wet, sticky bandits are put away, he has to get his fix by killing animals. I vote yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, I totally agree. I forgot. Yeah, he kills a dog. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, he got a taste for violence in Home Alone for good reasons. I mean, or justifiable reasons. But that doesn't just go away overnight.
Right. Maybe he was like envisioning like that hairy dog as Harry. Or one of the sticky bandits.
And wet and sticky. Like a wet dog.
Wet, sticky dog.
Yeah.
Alvin81 Insta says, so wrong, with a laughing face.
No.
This is a good one. Repo Man 87 says, in some weird way, this could work. All these Marvel movies deal with alternate universes. Why can't the Home Alone saga do the same? I totally agree. Then he says, the last Spider-Man movie opened my eyes to a lot of possibilities in cinema that I have ignored.
Well, so the metaverse is I think we might have touched on this in one of the previous ones. Like it's a way of viewing movies through a more open lens. Like you can make these connections, whether it be actor, personality, or what,
right,
and create your own extended universe.
Right. And, for those of you listening and watching, if you have any ideas, send them to Vcrworld. You can send it to vcrworld.com. You can get my email on there, or you can just message them to me on Instagram. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, you could comment them below and tell us what you think would be a good sequel, prequel, or trequel trilogy.
Yeah.
And be sure and like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're listening to this on a podcast platform, follow. That's all you have to do is just click a little button, and then
you can rate. You can rate podcasts on Spotify now.
Rate.
That's cool.
Yeah,
yeah.
You can rate us all day if you want. You can just sit there and rate all of our episodes, and I think that you should. Yeah. Do you have anything you want to add, Drew? I think I'm satisfied.
This is great.
Yeah.
I think we stepped it up from Will It sequel to Will It trilogy, and this should put the Home Alone franchise to bed.
Oh yeah, yeah, and I think that Amazon's gonna see a big increase, if you know what I mean, in the Good Son sales today.
Absolutely.